Let's be honest, superpowers are fun. They're flashy, over the top, and everyone as a kid fantasized about having one. And based on the current movie climate, clearly superheroes have never been more popular. But despite the ridiculous amount of content we've gotten over the last 10 years, I think Boku no Hero Academia's take on superpowers and heroes still manages to be new and refreshing. When we think of superpowers, our minds often conjure images of Superman, The Flash, Spider-Man, Captain America, and countless others. People with fantastic abilities doing good. And at first glance, the world of Hero Aka is no different, with 80% of the population possessing some uncanny quirk. But cracks in this mirror start to form once we take a closer look at that word, quirk. For starters, the case for almost everyone in Deku's world is that they were either born with or developed their quirk naturally by the age of 4. There was no government experiment or horrible accident that acted as a catalyst. Instead, their power is a part of their identity from the beginning, just another aspect of what makes them who they are. So in this regard, Deku as a character is actually the closest to a Marvel or DC-esque hero, as he has to figure out who he is once he finds himself with a quirk of his own. So reflecting that, we see him undergo trials unique to his situation. For example, the first time he tries to use his new power, 3 out of his 4 limbs are horribly broken and rendered useless because his body isn't used to this newly acquired quirk. It's an extreme example, but we are clearly shown Deku's limitations, a barrier he is still working his way towards surmounting. But he's not alone. As the show has progressed, the limitations for many of Class 1A have either been hinted at or outright stated. And this is where the division between quirk user and superhero starts to widen. Because as much as quirks can be certifiable superpowers, they are not guaranteed to be. They really function more like genetic mutations, and unlike, say, the X-Men, their abilities aren't overpowered to the point of literally ending existence as we know it. Likewise, nobody in this universe that we've seen is as invulnerable as, say, Superman. They also don't carry with their powers a mastery of tactics, martial arts, acrobatics, and peak physical everything like Captain America. At the end of the day, they really are more human than super when compared to many of their Western counterparts. And their quirk limitations reflect this reality. Uraraka can only float so much before she hits her weight limit and gets nauseous. Ida can be explosively fast, but then he stalls out and can't move, and even Bakugo can't dish out his explosions left and right without dealing with the recoil in his arms and shoulders. Everyone has some limiting factor that they must either battle with or learn to work around. As Mr. Aizawa says, you can't be a pro if you've only got one trick. What he's suggesting here is that you can't and shouldn't rely solely on the power of your quirk to get the job done. Your power means nothing if you don't know how to correctly apply it, and in a world where people's abilities aren't always the raw offensive kind, learning how to best use yours in the worst of scenarios is key to being a pro. So the quirks of Boku no Hero Academia not only allow for some fun and inventive action set pieces, but also serve as foils for their respective users. They are still teenagers after all, hoping to one day be saving the world. On that note, I love the concept of pro heroes in a world where powers are just a normal thing, and like the limitations, it helps keep this very super story grounded in a little bit of reality. The realization that realistically, not everyone can be a hero. Even excluding those 20% of people without a quirk, the truth of the matter is it's very hard to stand out without a flashy power. If you have something cool and useful, you will be more marketable, plain and simple. We've also recently gotten the chance to see just how the world treats people with different kinds of quirks. For example, we see from an early age Bakugo getting untold amounts of praise for his ability. This does lead him to develop a bit of an ego as well as a god complex, but from what we've seen, it's not unwarranted. I mean, he's been hearing non-stop since the age of 4 about how great a hero he's going to be. Now compare this to the likes of Shinso from General Studies. During his fight with Deku, we see how he was treated towards the end of junior high. Like Bakugo, people were amazed by his quirk, but for different reasons. Everybody saw his ability to brainwash others as villainous by nature. They remarked about how great a power it would be for a bad guy to have. And again, like Bakugo, it's not unwarranted. It's kind of a dick thing to say, sure, but even Shinso admits that he would probably feel the same. It's just the way this world views those kind of quirks. And while Shinso still very much wants to be a hero, I have to wonder how many people were unintentionally steered towards the path of villainy because of similar treatment. And depending on their quirk, their trip down this road might only be accelerated thanks to hero entrance exams like the ones at UA. With the practical exams giving a clear edge to those with purely offensive quirks, people like Bakugo and Kirishima taking first and second place respectively makes perfect sense. But for those in Shinso's camp, being rejected by a hero course simply because of their quirk could serve to only nurture any bad seeds taking root. It's a very dark but realistic possibility. From the beginning, Boku no Hero Academia has dispelled the idea that this is a perfect fantasy world where everyone has exceptional abilities. And as the show has progressed, the gray aspects of a superpowered populace have started to come into view. I have no doubt that more challenges are on the way for both Class 1A and Deku, challenges that will continue to blur the lines for both us and him. I don't think quirks are amazing because they are basically superpowers. I think they're amazing because of what they're able to represent and the ability for great storytelling and world building that goes along with them. They are my favorite aspect of one of my favorite series. But those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours, so be sure to leave them down below. Favorite quirk? Best girl? Whatever it is, let me know. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, click over here on the left to subscribe, or if I've yet to convince you, feel free to check out some of my other videos on the right. And I will see you guys next time.